Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in. And as you've probably seen from the title, we are talking about Xiaomi TVs with the guys that are behind all the TVs that have launched in the past and also from the beginning when Xiaomi introduced their TVs in India. I, of course, have with me Eshwar, who is the category lead at Xiaomi. And I also have with me Sudeep, who is the senior product manager at Xiaomi and has been the one who actually walks us through the features of all these TVs that we have reviewed. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me here today.
Thanks, Ami. Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
having us.
So the first thing I want to ask you guys is the fact that it's been a very difficult past 12 months for everyone who's been staying at home and working from home. And that difficulty has, of course, been eased with the fact that you have the television on your wall that you've appreciated a little more than you did in the past. Can you talk a little bit about how this has been for Xiaomi, maybe from the people who are already invested in the ecosystem, those that were looking to buy the TVs, you guys also working from home, and the challenges of maybe introducing new products last year?
So last year was a very, very different year for all of us. I think there's no denying that. So last March, we announced that we had shipped 4 million TVs. The year started out very well, and then we went into the lockdown. And then there was the whole disruption in supply that happened because the factories took time to kind of ramp up. There was shortage. But despite all of that, so the momentum that we had with respect to the sellout continued throughout the year. And we actually saw that people were using TV not just for entertainment, but a lot for educational purpose as well. So we saw a huge spike in edutainment as a category that was growing in 2020. So overall, we saw very, very key trends that were emerging, which I think we will be talking over the course of this interaction. But what we saw was like people were kind of using TVs more for entertainment, education, fitness, so on and so forth. So that also kind of fueled the whole demand for smart TVs for last year.
Yeah, and Sudeep, maybe your perspective on the same thing from a product perspective, maybe some updates that you had for the TVs that were meant to roll out, or maybe the new TVs, like we saw the QLED TV came all the way towards the end of the year, so how did this affect your planning for introducing new TVs or new technologies?
Of course, it as Yusuf mentioned, we did have an impact from a product perspective. We do a lot of customization here in the offices. That starts from the picture tuning to the audio tuning, right? To get the best. So of course there was some challenges because we were all at home, and doing the TV testing requires your physical presence, and so many other peripherals needs to be connected. So yes, from a product readiness, it did have an impact. Hence, as you have seen, we launched the QLED little end to the year, but that's primarily because we had to get the tuning right, and that was our the primary focus for as it is with every TV that we launch in India.
All right, now one of the biggest distinguishing features, like when you place all the Android TVs available in the market today, the UI is the biggest homogeneous factor. And I remember, Sudeep, when you guys launched the first Mi TV 4 back, that really
Yes.
slim TV, you had a vision of what PatchWall would be like, right? I mean, we spoke about
Yeah.
the fact that if I'm a Salman Khan fan, I should have a filter where I could just go see all his
Yeah.
movies, whether they're playing on DTH or on a streaming service. And today we're
Yeah.
very close to that vision we saw some 3-4 years ago, right? The one that you presented.
That's
So
right.
can you talk a little bit about PatchWall? Maybe give those that are watching this, a little bit of a history, a little bit of where you guys started off and where you are today, be it even with your content partners that have grown so much, right? I mean, looking back, you stood on stage one day in Bangalore and said Prime Videos is coming. That was a big deal. And today it's just the obvious, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Samir. Back in the day when we were thinking of doing smart TVs, there were two or three key things that we wanted to do. Right, one was to make smart TV more easily accessible. The second part was obviously we wanted to ensure the TV helps you discover content. I think that was the primary goal of Patchwall. So when we were talking to our partners, in fact, we had a lot of challenges explaining them what we were trying to do, because before us, everybody in the smart TV world of things was all about taking an app and just putting it on their operating system. We had a very different approach. We wanted to bring content to the foreground so that people can easily see what they want to watch and discover more and more content. So that was the primary sort of like goal that we wanted to achieve. And over the course, I'm sure we have said this a lot of times. The key focus for Patchwall is obviously one to add more and more content partners. Back in the day, we had like about 6 or 7 partners, and today we have about over 25 partners that we work very, very closely. And the content integration itself is a process, right? It's about like it takes weeks and weeks just to get the basics right, and that powers a lot of features that we have built over the last 3 years.
So yeah, just to add to what Sudeep mentioned, if you look at Patchwall, there are, I think the first question, right? I think maybe if I were to rephrase your question is like, why are you doing Patchwall, right? I'll just kind of
Correct, yeah.
answer that in that way, because nobody else is doing that. You mentioned Android TVs. I'll go out on a limb and say that if you look at any smart TVs from any brand, I don't think anyone is doing anything like Patchwall. So the question is, why Patchwall? So when we started smart TVs, we were very, very confident that the smart TV or the content ecosystem is like going to explode in India. When we started, like Sudeep mentioned, we had 6 content partners. Now we have 25. Our conservative take is in another 2 years, it would be at least like 60 to 70, right? We are going in the same way the channels kind of exploded. It's just that there would be content. Again, not every content operator is going to be as big as your Netflix, Prime or Hotstar, but then everyone will have their own niche. And then we have 16 plus languages in this country that you just multiply that niche into the number of languages. It's just an arithmetic combination. You will have 50, 70. It is a very good thing, right, for the consumers, because there's so much choice, so much depth of content, but it becomes also a tedious task for consumers to discover content. So the number one reason why Patchwall is there is it kind of solves for content discovery in a much seamless way, so that content consumption becomes enjoyable and it is not a laborious task. I'll give you a simple use case. Let's say you want to search for this movie Pandemic, right? I think that was like my example for the last 1 year. Now I know that it is available in Prime Video, but maybe a consumer does not know. In a traditional smart TV, you will have to jump between multiple apps, and eventually you will find it, or you are already distracted by something that content app promoted. With Patchwall, from the home screen, you can just search for Pandemic, and it will show a tile of that movie with Prime Video, right? You just have to click, it will launch that app, and it will start playing the movie. It's as simple as that. And that's exactly what Patchwall. And like you said, that was the goal, and we are kind of slowly going towards the vision, and the vision also keeps evolving, right? How can we make it much, much more easier? The second,
and just to kind of elaborate on your example, it's not that you're typing the words pandemic anyway, literally just holding the voice assistant button and saying pandemic, and it's bringing it up there for you.
Correct. Yeah, and here I'll call out Sudeep's favorite keyword, right? I mean, he always uses Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, right? While it is popular, it is such a complicated keyword, right? But then the fact that we are riding on Google Assistant's years and years of data also helps the fact that it helps. I mean, I can't type Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. It's going to be a nightmare on a TV. So that's number one. The second reason why we believe we wanted to do Patchwall is over 80% of the consumers who bought a Mi TV are first-time users of smart TV, right? We almost thought it's our responsibility to ease them into this journey. Most of them moving from a CRT to a smart TV, we didn't want them to overwhelm by just kind of when they open up just like an array of apps, and we didn't want to overwhelm. That is one of the reasons that we've been working on Patchwall, right? Just to give some data points, over the last 2.5 years, we've shipped over 40 plus features on Patchwall alone. This is not counting, let's say, the version updates that have been pushed. These are just Patchwall specific features that have come. And the third one, which is related to the features, the reason why we do Patchwall, it helps us the ability to add India specific features, something that makes sense for Indian consumers, which is not something that, let's say, at a global level, a Google or maybe an Amazon can kind of target. That gives us the ability to do. Some of the examples being the data saver mode, because Indian consumers have access to cheap data, but then it's metered, right? Every day after your 1 GB is got over, you kind of running pillar to post to figure out how to get faster data. So people are always in that anxiety. So data saver kind of kills that anxiety by one, allowing you to watch more with the same data. Two, also gives toaster notifications when your data is going to get over. The second thing that we shipped about a quarter ago was the kids mode. Indian content is not censored, right? Again, there are still debates in the media in terms of how to censor it. But as of now, it is not censored, which means that there are a lot of children at home who can accidentally discover content. And we make discovery so easy. so they can easily discover content which might be age inappropriate. So with the kids mode, and with the way we've done universal search, just to give an example, if you use war as a keyword in the regular patch wall, we will show war movies, war documentaries, a lot of, anything related to war, or even the war movie, right, which is released. And if you do the same search in kids mode, we will actually show Star Wars and other cartoons which are age appropriate. So it's the same search words, but you will have different universe of search results. And we are able to do this because of the level, like what Sudeep mentioned. It takes a lot of time to ingest the data, the content APIs that we have from the content partners, and we kind of also do some intelligence on top of it, which enables us to give these search results. So yeah, so these are the three reasons why we believe so strongly in PatchWall and so passionate about it. And we'll continue to kind of keep working across these three verticals. Being first one being like, how can we make content discovery more accessible? Two is more a philosophical thing. I mean, we want to, let's say, improve the smart TV experience because we are kind of leaders in this space and we want to push that envelope there. And then three being like, how can we build India specific features?
So what is the next big feature we can expect from PatchWall? You have to give us something, or something that you're working on. One which is your next desire for the new UI.
Sudeep, you want to take a jab at it? I'll go
I think we are obviously constantly working on what to bring as the next feature. There are few areas that we would like to obviously focus. One being personalization, where people can personalize based on the Me ID. So currently we already have a login for signing and using a Me ID, and we are the team is working on to bring that feature. Another key feature, there are again, not divulging much into the information, there are a few other things that we would like to do. For example, payments, to how to get subscription. So we have our own MePay product on the mobile side of things. So we are looking how we can incorporate some of these things onto the smart TV experience via Patchwall.
So you make an interesting point when you say payments and subscriptions, because another service which actually is trying to do this, for example, is like a Tata Sky Binge, right? You get access to multiple OTT services with your Tata Sky subscription for a particular monthly cost, with the biggest catch being that you can't use that OTT subscription on your phone or any other device. It is locked in with your Tata Sky Fire TV stick or your Tata Sky Binge box. Do you see a future where Patchwork could offer 4, 5, 6, 10, or maybe all of your 20 services at at a combined package? Is that also something that you see in the future? Subscribe to multiple services and get like a discount on Xiaomi, things like that.
So just to elaborate what Sudeep was mentioning, right? I think that those are like two key areas that we are working, right? So because these are both of them are pain points right now, right? In terms of personalization is something that we don't offer right now on Patchwall. You logging into Patchwall, I logging into Patchwall, will see the same content, which will start changing. Again, we are building. We'll be taking small steps towards personalization, starting with, let's say, language, and then we'll slowly move on top of that. With respect to payment, so I mean, what you are saying, it could be, let's say, the ideal end state. Maybe, for example, right now the state that we are in is we are working with partners like Z5, Hangama, and many more partners, where we've asked them to integrate a QR code on the TV, right? Because entering a credit card information on the TV is going to be laborious, and if, let's say, there are more people in your house, you would not want to expose that information, right, to
Sure.
people. So basically, right now, what you can do is you can go scan the QR code, make the payment on your smartphone, and then automatically the subscription gets renewed. So that's something that's already happening. So it's been happening for the last 6 to 9 months. So again, this is like, let's say it's like the primary school of, let's say, where we want to be. And then I think what you mentioned could be, let's say, end state. In
Yeah.
terms of how things would evolve, again, we don't have an answer right now, but what you're saying could be, let's say, an eventual end state in terms of, let's say, how we look at things. However, the way we would be differentiated from some of the names that you mentioned is everything will be free, right? So we're never going to come and say that if you don't subscribe for pay for a month, I'm going to cut your OTT as well. So I mean, that freedom is something that's going to be inherently built in all our services. But yeah, I mean, these are let's say potential outcomes of, let's say, how the payment can evolve.
True. True. Also, in the past couple of years, we have seen so many companies trying to come into India. We've seen the influx, especially last year, of so many brands launching hardware in terms of budget televisions, bringing all the possible features that they can, trumping on the spec page. It literally became the mobile phone space for TVs, right? So, how do you guys view the competition of not only new budget brands entering India, but a lot of the premium brands also trying to come down with some budget models to leverage the brand name to kind of get back to where they were, because clearly Xiaomi has taken a big chunk of the television market share. So how are you guys dealing with that?
I'll take a first dip at this, right? So if you look at the TV market for over the last 5 to 7 years, so there are like 2 or 3 key trends, right? One, the market has not been growing. So the total shipment of TVs in the last 4 years have pretty much remained constant, and 2020 anyway it hit a nadir because of the lockdown. However, the trend is the smart TV share of the overall TV has been growing, and that's how we've been able to, let's say, do our numbers, right? If the market is not growing, we've been taking share from, let's say, a lot of brands. One of the reasons why the market has been growing, again, this is my personal hypothesis, is like there's not been any significant innovation that any of the incumbent brands have been able to bring to the table, right? Again, all these top brands have been kind of, doing, let's say, the regular stuff uh, without a lot of innovation coming in. So when, let's say, we were the first movers and bringing a lot of innovation, it kind of helped us to kind of grow. And like you rightly mentioned, what is happening right now is very similar to what happened for phones like 3 4 years ago, where every brand was entering the country, and we see that this is a very healthy thing for the category, right? Because there are more people going to notice it, and it helps us because when people notice and start doing research, they know that Mi TV is the number one smart TV brand, and then PatchWall is like a key differentiator over, let's say, other smart TVs. So it also helps our cost. So from that perspective, we see competition is good. With respect to, let's say, in terms of taking benchmarking competition, yeah, we do kind of benchmark certain competition. However, a lot of our decisions that we make with respect to product kind of focuses on the customer rather than the competition. So since that has worked well for us in phones and also in TVs, I think that's something that we will kind of continue to carry forward.
True. Now, coming to Sudeep, with let's change the question around a little bit. It's CES is that time of the year. It's the end of January. We've just finished CES 2021 virtually, and we see an influx of so much technology, especially when it comes to TVs. Right? I mean, 2019 was the first year when we saw HDMI 2.1 come with only LG's flagship TVs, for example, and it's now 2020, and Xiaomi has brought HDMI 2.1 to the masses at a date when we have new gaming consoles that can exploit it. We've seen from higher, brighter OLED TVs at CES to mini LED, micro LEDs, new types of panels, new UIs coming, new processors from different brands. And a lot of this stuff will generally be in the flagship territory for the next year, 2 or 3. So looking at Xiaomi as the brand that has brought QLED also at the 50K price point, for example, looking at Xiaomi bringing HDMI 2.1, how do you look at these technologies which are showcased, and how do you work around, okay, let's try to bring this at this price point? Like, so how does that work for you?
So, Samir, the way we look at products, right, when we're designing, it's first is it has to be the right balance, right? So we took our time, but we did bring a very balanced QLED product to the country. When we design, products, we keep that in mind so that we bring the right technology at the right time. So, for example, the market has to be there, right? For the need has to be there, and if you have noticed, a lot of people have been asking Xiaomi, please bring more and more premium technologies over the past 1.5 years. You have been very, very vocal about it. You need to do more. You need to bring more of these technologies. So we keep trying to, obviously, we keep researching about all the other technologies that's out there in the TV space. We keep a close eye, and the research always keeps going on. So HDMI 2.1 is a classic example, like you said. It was not available in anything like only LG flagships used to have. So we took a conscious decision that we'll not put just one, but all the three has to be HDMI 2.1, so that at least things like Atmos can pass through, and those are the benefits that you can get. We have auto low latency mode, which helps immensely when you play a console gaming or a PC gaming for that matter. And of course, eARC is already built into that. So yes, we do explore. And for example, Xiaomi this year, from a Mi side of things, right, we have been bringing more and more premium flagship products in the country. It started with Mi 10, Mi 10T, Mi 10T Pro, and the recent runaway success, the Mi 10i. Similarly, our focus is also do the same, to bring in more of these technologies. Like QLED was like a ask, or rather a premium TV was like an ask for a long time, and we were happy that we were successfully managed to do it, and do a good job at it. I think there's been overwhelming response from the media colleagues and customers out there, that the overall product has turned out to be really good, for the price.
Yeah. Another thing is, you've said that the Mi QLED TV, when you were briefing the media about the product, one of the things you said was we could have just brought the internationally available QLED, but we didn't do that. You guys did the R&D and the design of the technology in this TV to make it very local, very India, right? And since this was the first QLED TV that you guys did, can you talk a little bit about any learnings or anything that you said, hey, we wish we could have added this, but maybe in the next generation, or any learnings that you had from this first generation product?
So, being a first generation, we did have a lot of our learnings when it comes to picture tuning, for that matter, right? That's the first thing that we do. Other than that, this TV had, for the very first time, a 6-speaker setup. Now we have done 4-speaker setup, and prior to that we had done a 2-speaker setup. So things change very drastically when you add more and more drivers. So that was a great learning, because the music that we listen to in this country is very different. We have so many languages, so many genres of music. Our team actually sits, believe it or not, our team sits and listens to all of this day in and day out, right, to get that audio tuning also right. So from a learning perspective, this 6-speaker setup tuning was a great learning also, because it was the first attempt by Xiaomi in a 6-speaker setup. Of course, I mean, there's always want and need for more, bigger and better. I think one of the feedback that we have got is, why didn't you bring more sizes? I wish we could have done that, but we are a very small team, Samir. We try to focus and do the right thing, but justice by the product, right? That's what we internally think. Every product should do justice to its why it is supposed to be in the market. So yeah, sure, we could have done more, but I'm glad that at least we've done a great, a good job at the 55-inch variant.
Yeah. So a couple of days ago, I was listening to Dolby's CES briefing, and they said that India is a country where I think content consumption from OTT platforms has gone up by 97% since the lockdown started, or some crazy high figure like that is what they had said, right? And thinking about that, it got me thinking that Dolby speaks a lot about Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, something that the Mi TV supports right now. You have things like HDR. Xiaomi will have its vivid picture engine. You'll have MEMC there. There's just so many technologies that when we talk to buyers, they would love to go and have a touch and feel and kind of experience the product. And also, a lot of customers are not aware of what these technologies actually mean, right? So can you guys talk a little bit about how you guys plan, your collaboration with these guys to bring HDR, Dolby Vision, and how you guys educate your customers that these are the features we offer, like bursting the spec myth for the average guy coming to buy the TV?
Okay, I'll take a first shot at this one. So I think there are multiple touch points that are available for the consumers, right? So I think starting with the research phase. So again, if I were to look at it, so the research phase for an Indian consumer in a TV market is mostly 4 to 6 weeks. And in this 4 to 6 weeks, basis our study, we found that they go through at least 7 to 8 different touch points. And this is a combination of online as well as offline. And in online, I think the biggest touch point that they rely on is, let's say, reviews from you. So I think we are very thankful to all of you, and especially Samir, you, because I think the kind of quality of output that comes from Digit is head and shoulders above the rest, right? Because I don't think any other publication goes into that level of depth, and we really appreciate it, right? I mean, there are times when you also kind of called out certain things which don't work, which we don't appreciate, but it helps us to go and improve the next product in the same product. So really thankful for that, right? So that's the first level. And we've seen that people watch like 2 to 3 YouTube reviews. So they're not just sticking to one YouTube review. So there are 2 to 3 YouTube review, 1 to 2 which they read. And if, let's say, it is a premium product, we've seen that this also extends even more. People watch maybe multiple times that number of reviews, right? So because they need to be very sure of it. And TV is again a category which people will use it for 5 to 7 years. So there is more involvement in terms of, let's say, understanding certain technology. So that's the first phase. The other touch points where we create a lot of awareness for this is on the store, right? So if you look at Flipkart or Amazon or me.com, so we have a very rich product page which talks about the details. We know that people don't read a lot of text, so we also try to put a lot of pictures and videos wherever possible to make the whole understanding very, very simple. For example, so for QLED, at the time of launch, we had a small series which explained what exactly is a QLED TV, right? In terms of why it is, because there is, I think, while QLED has been is a very well known term, I think it's also been an abused term, right? So we wanted to kind of break that myth. So that's one other touch point. The other touch point we have, which is like the first moment of truth, is like the stores. So we have 70 plus Me Homes, and we have 200 plus Me Studios. So these are the premium outlets that we have, where we showcase, let's say, the QLED TVs. Again, it's not present everywhere, but eventually we will be there. Uh, uh, so this is a place where people can go and experience. So what we've seen is people have 7 to 8 touch points. Out of that, 1 to 2 of them is offline. And offline is very important because uh, we can talk about how much ever on, let's say, online, unless, let's say, people go and experience it, it is not going to be the same, especially for sound and visual. You need to be there. And so these are, let's say, the pre-purchase. Post-purchase, what we've started doing, again, because we have PatchWall on the QLED TVs, right? This is not in any other TV. On the QLED TV, we also have a Dolby section. Because the TV supports Dolby, we have curated titles which support Dolby Vision, which support HDR plus, so people can actually see in terms of how it looks. So I think that kind of completes the whole journey, because it is like, I mean, I keep giving this example multiple times. It's like having a Ferrari car, but if you're on a Bangalore road, it's kind of a shame, right? So I mean, you have Dolby Vision. A lot of TVs have Dolby Vision, but if I don't think a lot of consumers know which content is Dolby Vision. People think that if I have Netflix, I'll get Dolby Vision, but they don't, right? You need to subscribe for the most premium pack on Netflix. Even in Hotstar, people don't know that Mandalorian is available in Dolby Vision. I mean, I knew it only after Sudeep told me, and then we spoke to Hotstar, and then we figured out that they are kind of doing the transcoding, and then hopefully in the future a lot more content will be available in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos as well, right? Which is available as a pass through. So these are the multiple touch points that we kind of try to educate. But yeah, I think that is one area where we are kind of also investing a lot of resources, because we are expanding in offline. That is something that is new as a skill, so we are trying to kind of get better at it.
Just to add to what Ishwar mentioned, when you walk into a Me store, right? We always talk to all of those trainers after, say, a product is launched. We try to, like you mentioned, there are a lot of terms, right? QLED, a lot of technologies. So we give them us, we prepare a small set of things that can be easily explained to them. In fact, we have seen there was a case recently after the QLED launch. Someone came and he spent 4 hours just to check the TV. So we have that. I mean, you can say it's like limitless, right? You can just like, okay, go ahead and check the TV for your satisfaction. And in fact, people even come with thumb drives. Believe it or not, they want to check the videos that they have taken or the movies that they might have. How does that look? So from an experience point of view, if you walk into our store, we don't necessarily have those fancy demo videos showing, but we want it to be had the more real experience, right? As a user sees it. In fact, a lot of the Me Homes have, in fact, all the Me Homes have internet connection enabled just for this, so that you can stream YouTube videos. Just hear the sound, check the picture quality. So that's what we also try to do at a ground level. Give a real, true to life example or demo experience, so that you can make that right decision before you spend the money.
True. Yes, that makes a lot of sense, because we also recommend a lot of times that carry your own content on a thumb drive, because you're so used to seeing it, you know how good it looks. Okay, now this is just a straight up, very straight question, no plugs on any side. Are we going to see an OLED TV from Xiaomi in India? In India, I know you have them internationally, you have transparent TVs internationally, but an OLED TV in India.
See, Samir, I've always said, right, like there's always the right time and and we keep doing the research. It's not that we don't discuss this, or we don't try to analyze. Um, um, we, from a technology perspective, yes, there is always discussion and A lot of debate happens over it. But yeah, we don't know if that's something that's possible in near future. One primary thing is you have to remember, Samir, is when we do things, you can build a great product, but there has to be sufficient supply also from a supply point of view. So that's very, very key when we make additions. That's why we have a lot of multiple vendors across TV screens, TV sizes, so that that's never becomes an issue. We don't want to launch a product and not be able to supply it at say a second half or say, in a later half of the product life cycle. We want to have that assurance when the time is right, when we find the right partner, that we can do it, and and you know how we do things at Xiaomi. We want to make things big. We just don't want to just do things just for the sake of trying out or testing the waters. But that's why we'll take our time, but we'll definitely want to get our supplies or the suppliers sorted so that we are assured that things can go on smoothly. Ishwar?
Yeah, pretty much that. I think you hit the nail on the head. So with respect to, I think one of the biggest feedback that we as a company has been getting over the last 5 years is you're not getting enough supplies.
Yeah.
So so that's something that again, it is not intentional, right? I mean, as a company, we want to maximize our sales. It doesn't make let's say business merit to not have enough supplies. So, but the corollary of that is if we have to get into any new technology, we need to be assured of, let's say, that we can have adequate supplies, and not just adequate supplies, also supplies with, let's say, the best of the quality, right? That's what Xiaomi stands for. Until we are confident of that, we don't kind of let's say get into that. And like Sudeep mentioned earlier, so we are a very small team, right? So I mean, we are a team of, let's say, Sudeep has a team of 3 people, and he manages all this. So we also want a certain scale in whatever we do, which means that from a volume standpoint, we also need to hit a certain threshold. So I think when both of these kind of come together, so that is when we kind of let's say get into a particular segment. So whenever that happens, then I mean we, again, it's not like we wait for things to happen as well. We keep pushing the suppliers. We keep kind of doing a lot of research to kind of make it happen, right? I mean, QLED did not happen because the stars aligned somewhere, but then essentially these are the two let's say things that needs to fall in place, and that's something that we're working towards.
Okay, now my final question is again coming back to the home entertainment space. We've had one soundbar from Xiaomi only in these past couple of years. Are we going to get another one? Are you guys working on one? 2021 is the year where we get a Dolby Atmos soundbar from Xiaomi, or a successor to the Mi soundbar.
So again, Samir, we released only one soundbar, like you mentioned, and we had two color variants. Black being like the most popular, I can confidently say that. Yeah, we are now currently available, on multiple online, and you can also find that in offline. Sound is, personally speaking, sound is something that we also value. I mean, personally, I value that a lot. And if you've seen in our TV, we have kind of done that in a way where we have tried getting more and more sort of like a fuller sound, right? 65 was a very big step up from say a two setup speaker, and even on TV side of things, on the QLED side of things, we did push the limits from our side, from a R&D perspective, because these are all engineered and built in-house in Xiaomi, right? We basically take drivers and we start putting it in boxes, trying to test it out. We have an R&D center where we do all this, it's a proper acoustic room where we do all those testings. So I mean, from a TV side of things, we have seen it's more convenient for people to accept or get into a sound. Soundbar is still, what we have seen is soundbar is something what people look for, good quality and powerful. So we continue doing a lot of discussion with our partners from a reseller point of view, from our Mi fans. They all have said that we should be doing more. Hopefully we can do something, but nothing in concrete or any conclusive things at this moment.
Okay. For both of you, anything else that you want to talk about that I may not have asked in these questions?
Maybe I'll just take a couple of minutes to explain about the PatchWall Replay report that we're kind of coming out with. I think we'll be sharing a copy. I don't know if you've already received the one. The idea of that report, right? The reason why we are doing this is, again, I'll talk about the report, what it covers. It talks about some major trends that we noticed in terms of what people watched. So, for example, I mentioned about the edutainment as a category, which grew almost 177% over last year. Similarly, we saw that a lot of movies released directly on OTT last year, and even Patchwall's reach. So the kind of the first day first show equivalent on Patchwall is actually bigger than the first day first show of, let's say, some of the leading multiplex chains put together, right? So that's the kind of scale that Patchwall has got, and that is how we were also able to convince Hotstar to get their multiplex releases 2 hours before the entire world could see. So the first three movies, right? Some of the Patchwall users could actually finish the movie even before some of them could start. So we cover certain trends around that. We also talk about how fitness as a trend grew so big at one end. On the other end, we also saw a lot of cooking videos that went really viral last year, right? I mean, there are people who are working out, people who were just like binging on food last year. So, and the reason why we are sharing all of these trends, right? These are trends that we usually share with our content partners, and it's our belief that when we keep sharing these trends with content partners, it also helps them to fine tune, let's say, what is the content that they need to be creating, right? And our idea of sharing this report in the public is for the future content creators to take something out so that they know in terms of, let's say, what India is kind of binging on. And it would help them to kind of, let's say, whether they are creating a content on an OTT or a content on YouTube, this is something that we believe would help them in the journey, right? So that's the reason why we're coming out with this report, and hopefully we will kind of continue this at a yearly cycle going forward, and try to add more and more interesting data points. So that's one thing that I just wanted to leave at there.
Anything from you, Sudeep?
That's Patchwall Report is something that Patchwall as a property, we have created so many features. This was like a due. I think we wanted to do this. Anisha wanted to do this for a very long time. I'm so glad that we are able to now share this. I think today or tomorrow we'll be sharing this to the world also. And yeah, again, thank you so much for having us. I always love enjoy reading and seeing your reviews.
Also, the
And
random calls I give you when we get a new Xiaomi TV for
Yeah,
review.
of course. I think, yeah, like Isha mentioned, right? One of the guys that I respect from a TV review space, that you do so much of effort. I don't think people understand or realize how difficult it is to review a TV. I do TV, so I understand even just to set up how much time it takes versus say any other category on it. So really appreciate the time that you take and effort even to do comparisons. And that's a lot of work. That's I think most toughest work to do a TV comparison when it comes to review. So thank you so much for the hard work that you do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks. And for, of course, all the rest of you that have stayed through to the end of this interaction, if you have any questions regarding TVs, Xiaomi's TVs, you can always reach out to us. You can write to us at editor@digit.in, or you can simply leave a comment below in this video and we will do our best to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, and for more from the world of technology, you can subscribe to our channel.